everyone and welcome to my channel. I'm super excited for today's video because today I'm going to film my blush inventory. So I have started to take inventory of my makeup and I have filmed my inventories. I will link my inventory playlist down below, and today I'm going to do blushes. By the way, I'm sorry if the lighting situation changes throughout the video because there is cloudy outside, but sometimes sun peeks through and it is brighter, so I'm sorry about that. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the number I have, and I'm going to share with you mini reviews of these blushes, and I'm going to show you swatches of these. Blush is for me a little bit different than categories I have talked before. So I have talked about my primers, foundations, concealers, powders, setting sprays and bronzers and contouring products. And all of those categories that I have done previously have been something that the less I have is better. And with blush, I don't want to have like hundreds of blushes, but blush is very different for me. I'm going to use foundations as an example here from previous categories. I don't need a drawer full of foundations, and foundation is actually something that when I buy it, I want to use it up. Blush is, however, different. I want to have different options, I want to have different colors, I want to have different finishes, and I don't buy blush to finish it up. I actually do have a couple of blushes in my project pan right now, but overall blush is not something that it's my goal to hit pan or it's my goal to use it up. I want to have different blushes to match with my eye looks, to match with my lipstick. So this is a category where I do have more products than in my previous inventories. So I do have 24 blushes, and some of them are in palettes, but I did count each shade to be one blush because I do have 24 options to put to my cheeks. And I know it's a lot of blush. It's not like the biggest ever, like some YouTubers have probably hundreds of blushes. I know 24 is not that much, but for some people it may be way overwhelming. For me, it is quite alright. I am not overwhelmed by my blush collection. The only thing is that I don't want to have blushes that look exactly the same. I do not need two blushes that are the exact same shade of pink. But I must say most of my blushes are quite different. Some of them are fairly similar so that I could declutter some, but I'm not going to declutter anything in this video. There are a few blushes that I might declutter, but I still do want to throw them to my makeup basket and try them out a couple of times and compare them to blushes that are similar. One thing about blushes is that most of my blushes are from the drugstore. I do have some high-end blushes, but honestly there is only one high-end blush that is worth it in my opinion. Most of the times I find drugstore blushes are as good as high-end that I have tried. And one thing I want to mention before going through my collection is that I'm going to go through it by color categories. So I think it would be nicer to watch if I showed my blushes by brand, but honestly for me it makes so much more sense to show them by colors. That is how I can get more out of this inventory. I actually do want to see if I do have similar blushes, similar colors from different brands, so that's why I'm going to show them in categories. And the categories I'm going to go them through are peachy blushes, pink blushes, berry and rosy and other deeper blushes, and then neutral natural brownish blushes. So let's start with blushes that are either peachy or peachy pink. I actually do really like peachy blush on summertime. It's so pretty with warm toned looks. First is a peachy pink blush from Catrice. This is their multi matte blush and this is in the shade Love Rosie. It is quite pink compared to some peachy blushes that I do have, but then again in my pink blush category the blushes are definitely more true pink and this is definitely more peachy. The swatch is over here. I don't know if you can even see it because it is so light, and actually I don't wear it now that I do have some tan because I think it wouldn't even show up on my skin. But when I don't have tan at all, when I am at my palest, this is so beautiful. Warm peachy pink, nice flush of color on my cheeks, very natural blush. Next I do have another peachy pink blush, but this is way deeper than the previous one. So this is theBalm Frat Boy blush, and it looks like this. It is matte blush as well as the Catrice blush. So this is the theBalm Frat Boy, and I actually think this is a little bit too deep for me usually. Now I have been enjoying to wear it when I do have some tan, but if I don't have tan at all, I just don't think this is the most flattering shade for me. I do have, however, in this theBalm Balm Voyage 2 palette, 2 blushes, and one of them is like this peachy pink blush that is so similar to the Frat Boy. So I have been thinking I might declutter the Frat Boy, because this palette I'm not going to get rid of, and I actually think this blush in the palette is more smooth and better quality. So there is the blush in the palette, I don't know how to pronounce it, Huan Ying. Then I do have here a blush that is more like true peach blush. So this is Essence Matte Touch Plus in Peach Me Up. This is so pretty. I have been wearing it a lot during the spring and summertime. So it looks like this. This blush is very smooth and very nice quality. The only thing is that they don't have that many shades. They only have 3 shades in this blush. I think it's so stupid. When you have this good of formula, you definitely should do more shades. Okay, so those are all of my peachy blushes that are matte, and I do still have a couple of blushes that are shimmery. So first, let's start with the lighter one. This is the Ciate, I believe, it doesn't say it in the packaging, but I believe it is Glowt-To blush or something like that, and this is in the shade Summer Love. That is described as apricot pink, but it is like very light peachy shade, and I'm actually a little bit disappointed to this blush, and the reason is that it is so light. I do have very hard time to get it show on my skin, so it is over here. When I did try this the first time, I did have some tan on, so I'm still going to hang on to this blush and try it when I don't have tan at all on winter. But if I still don't like it on the winter, and if I just feel like it doesn't show up, I'm probably going to give it to my sister. And then the last peachy blush in my collection is something that if you have watched YouTube videos a lot, you know this is something almost every YouTuber has. So this is the Milani Baked Blush in Luminoso. I did have a couple of other shades from this baked blush line, but they were not that nice, so I think the formula is quite inconsistent. But this is deeper peachy shimmery blush than the previous blush I showed. This is very beautiful. So this is the Milani Luminoso. As you can see, it is deeper than the Ciate blush. Then let's go through my pink blushes, and pink blushes I do have 5 in total, and I think it's quite okay. There is maybe one I would like to declutter and one that I'm trying to finish, and I have almost used it up. But overall I must say that pink blush is not my favorite type of blush. So let's again start with blushes that are matte, and let's go from lightest to deepest. So first is this Beauty Without Cruelty Mineral Duo Blusher, and this is in Radiant Rose. It is in my project pan, so looks like this. As you can see, there is not that much left. I think it's expired, and I don't know if I just should remove it from my project pan, because it almost doesn't show up at all on my skin. It does if I don't have any tan. Maybe I will try to use it up next winter. I have to figure out then if I want to finish it up. But it's something that if I do once on winter when I am at my palest, a very light wash of cool toned pink to my cheeks. This works very well, but honestly I have had it for 5 years, and I think the formula has always been a little bit powdery and dry, but I think it's not the same what it used to be. Then I do have from Viva La Diva, that is a Swedish brand, this Dream Cheek blush and highlighter palette, and this is so cute. There is 2 highlighters, they are not that great, but then there is 4 blushes, and I do really enjoy the blushes. There is 2 pinks, so let's first start with this pink. That is this more cool toned pink. It is called Spring Break. This is very cool toned matte pink. Not something I very often like to wear, but sometimes. So it is here. I maybe prefer this kind of blushes if I don't have tan at all when I am at my palest. I think it looks better then. The blush I do have in my collection that is fairly similar to the previous blush is this theBalm Boy blush, and I have actually been thinking of decluttering this because it's not vegan. So it looks like this. It is quite cool toned, but it does have a little bit more warmth than the Viva La Diva. The Viva La Diva is really, really cool toned. This is definitely warmer than the Viva La Diva. So you can see that the balm blush has a little bit more warmth. So I do like it, but I think they are so similar that I don't need both. But I do want to try it for at least once before making the decision. Then there is this blush here in this Viva La Diva palette that is called Rosy Cheeks. So it is definitely more warm toned pink, and this is like a warm, bright, hot pink. It is definitely not a blush I like to wear very often because it's so bright. Then the last pink blush I do have in my collection is my only loose blush for now. So this is the Aromaleigh blush in shade Venus. I don't mind my blush to be loose powder. It's just I'm not that likely going to reach for it. But overall I want to start collecting indie makeup and some loose pigments, loose blushes, loose highlighters. They are not something I wear that much, but it's something I want to have in my collection, especially if the product tells a story. And this is from their Goddess collection, and they are inspired by goddesses, and Venus is a goddess of love. I knew when I bought it that it's not going to be my favorite shade ever, but I actually think I do have now tan so much that I want to try the blush. So it is this cool toned pink blush that has some beautiful sheen in it. Let's move to my deeper blushes. So these are going to be like berry or rosy blushes, and on my skin tone that is very light, these definitely look a little bit more deep. So let's start with the Essence Matte Touch Plus in the shade Berry Me Up. I do have all of these Essence Matte Touch Pluses, and this is my least favorite of them. So it looks like this. It's nice, like reddish berry matte shade. However, this shade that is called Sunday Walk from my Viva La Diva palette, I'm sorry the lighting situation changes again. This blush is so similar to the Essence blush. I don't need both, and I do prefer this palette. Actually, I think the palette and the Essence blush do have very similar formula when it comes to blushes. They are matte, they are so smooth. This blush from Viva La Diva is definitely more cool toned, but honestly I don't go that often for warm toned berry rosy type of blush. Then I do have here this Catrice Multi Matte blush in the shade La-Lavender that is very similar to these blushes I showed earlier. Because it's called La-Lavender you would think it's cool toned, but it's actually not that cool. So I'm just going to swirl my finger here and show what it looks like when all the shades are mixed together. Actually this one looks very, very similar to the Essence blush. It is just a little bit more cool toned, but they are quite similar. Then I do have in this theBalm Balm Voyage 2 palette this shade Doshly that is like cool toned rosy blush. It is here definitely more cool toned than the blushes before. Then the final blush in this category is this theBalm Cabana Boy. This one is a little bit different for the blushes before, but honestly this is something I use maybe once a year. And because it's not vegan, maybe I will declutter it. None of these blushes look exactly the same. But then again, because I don't use these kind of blushes that often, I could maybe declutter the Essence Matte Touch Plus and this theBalm Cabana Boy, because I think that if I'm going to declutter Frat Boy and Down Boy, I think I'm going to declutter this one too. I do have only one category left here, so these are neutral blushes. So these are all different neutrals. Some are more mauvey, some are more red, some are more brown, but overall these are quite brownish and they are something I consider to be neutral. This is my favorite blush category. I prefer neutral blush over anything else. So I do have in this category 8 blushes. So let's again start with matte. I do have this Essence Matte Touch Plus in the shade Rose Me Up. I don't know why this is called Rose Me Up, because it's like beige. I don't know any rose that is this beige. But this is one of my favorite blushes in my collection, especially if I don't have any tan. This is just nice beige blush. Then there is one more blush in this Viva La Diva Dream Cheek palette, so it is called Sunny Day, and it is also looks very beige, but it is a little bit more red than the Essence blush. It's my favorite blush from this palette. It's something that I feel it goes with every look. It's very pretty. So it's more red than the Essence blush. Then the last matte neutral blush is this Catrice Light and Shadow Contouring Blush. This is in the shade Bronze Me Up Scotty. This is fairly new to me. Catrice overall is a little bit more new brand to me. I have started to try their products in 2018, so here's what it looks like. I think it's a little bit more mauvey than the blushes previously, so it's quite similar still, but I love it. Then I do have here some blushes that are more shimmery, not maybe like super shimmery, but they definitely do have some sheen. And next is my Holy Grail blush. I do have this blush on today. So this is the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Blush in Mood Exposure. It looks very cool toned here, but it always applies more warm what I would expect. And one thing in this blush is that it also swatches quite cool toned in my opinion, but on the cheeks it applies definitely warmer. But this in the bottom is the Hourglass blush, and this is the only high-end blush that I mentioned earlier is in my opinion worth the money, but I still wouldn't buy other blushes from Hourglass because this is the only shade I was really into. This kind of neutral blushes I love, and these are so expensive. Next is this e.l.f. Baked Blush in Rich Rose. This is very beautiful neutral brown blush that has a beautiful gorgeous sheen in it. This type of blushes I just absolutely love. This is not that pigmented, so I think it just looks very fresh and very nice on your skin. I layered it so that it shows up more. Then I do have a little bit more warm brown, and this is actually in my project pan. So this is the Essence Silky Touch Plus, and it is in shade Natural Beauty, and it looks like this. Very brown, as you can see. This does have more warmth in it than the e.l.f. one, but it's still quite neutral. So there it is. Then I do have a couple of blushes left that are neutral, but they are maybe a little bit more red neutral. So first is this Essence Satin Touch Plus in Satin Love. I know Kathleen Lights did rave about this, and I think it's for a reason. This is stunning blush. I love the finish of it. It is not like super shimmery, but it does have a beautiful sheen. It's this beautiful reddish neutral, absolutely stunning blush. And then there is only one more blush left. This one actually I almost threw in my deeper blushes with berry blushes and those, but then again this is definitely way more brown than those, but this is quite red. So it is this blush here in the Pacifica Solar palette. It is quite similar to the Essence blush, but it's more like warm. In my eyes, all of these neutral blushes of mine are quite different, but for you it may seem they are so similar. Like if you are a berry blush lover, you maybe looked at my berry blushes and thought they are so different, and you maybe need all of those, but for me, when I don't wear those kind of blushes that often, I don't need all of those. But these neutral blushes I do wear all the time, so I want to have a lot of options. I don't, however, think I need more. Maybe if I find some blush that is super beautiful, but I really have to think if I do have something similar in my collection. This was all for today. I know the video was a little bit like all over the place and the way I went through these blushes, but for me it just makes so much more sense to see the blushes next to each other. And yeah, I do have to put those theBalm Boys blushes at least in my makeup basket and think if I actually want to keep them or not. But overall I'm quite happy with my blush collection. I know it is bigger than anybody needs, but for me it is good size. I do have a lot of options and I do really love most of my blushes. Those that I don't love, I do want to declutter, but I don't want to make too quick decisions because I already spent my money to these blushes. Everything I have bought with my own money, so it doesn't make any sense to get rid of it if I don't think it out truly. But anyways, this was all for today. I hope you liked this video. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you did like it, please put thumbs up. Let me know down in the comments what is your Holy Grail blush, and see you in my next video. Bye bye.